Good afternoon. This is Australia Arakkha Media. We are broadcasting live from Sydney. Today, we're going to interview with Scott. Scott, who is not a stranger of people from Myanmar. He is also helping indigenous people from Southeast Asia. In the past, he was traveling across Myanmar and meeting with many of our revolutionary leaders in the past. And then he also working as a journalist. Hi, Scott. How are you doing?
Zoba, Ton, and welcome to Zoba.
Scott.
To all the ethnic people from Arakan State and all across the great country of Burma that is unfortunately under war today.
Oh yes, as you know that there are so much problem inside Myanmar. Yes, Scott. Thanks for having an interview with us.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. So, how do you feel about the ongoing war in Burma after the current military coup? And then, as you know, that the fighting continue across inside Myanmar, the number of the internally displaced refugees are getting higher. What's your opinion on that? Well, what do you want to say about that?
Well, the conflict in Burma is continuing today. It's now 2022. It's been going on for decades. If we look at the recent, conflict in the last, since the coup, since the elections, we see nothing but complete failure from the Western governments. The military regime is in power. Basically a military mafia. They are in power. There are hundreds of thousands of refugees strewn across the country. And we're talking about, for the last 30 years, we have had, just in Thailand alone, around 100,000 Karen refugees. They're still there. They're in camps since the 1980s. So the West has completely failed in any sort of attempts to deal with the situation in Burma. And unfortunately, they're not making any progress in recalibrating this and trying to make that country stable again. Particularly with the Obama administration placing all of its hopes in this one person, Aung San Suu Kyi, the lady was going to come and save it. This was always doomed to failure. I can't repeat enough. It was always doomed to failure because the Western governments did not take into account the ethnic people of Burma. They looked at it as one sphere, one sort of country, when in fact, Burma, what the military calls Myanmar, is basically a mafia state with the Burmese sort of in the central lowland areas primarily. And the outlying regions, the frontier regions of Burma itself, is ethnic land. These are not, when I mean by ethnic land, I mean it's land belonging to the indigenous ethnic people who are non-Burmese. That's something that the whole formula that the West presented in the last, the decades, but certainly in recent years, has been nothing but an abject failure.
Yes, Scott, that's very sad. Yeah, if you look at international organization, across, around the world, all the international organizations are paying so much attention in current crisis in Europe, on current crisis in Europe. So they are giving so much financial assistance, and then they are giving so much, like finance to the Ukrainian government and Ukrainian army. Why international organizations are so, paying very little attention to the, the Myanmar, the crisis? I don't fully understand. So, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, it's a very good question, because why would the Biden administration and the European governments want to put billions of dollars? We're talking about billions. So this highlights the complete hypocrisy of Western policy. Whatever the reason that they want, it looks clear now that this idea of giving $40 billion or more to the Ukraine, to Zelensky and his government, was nothing but an attempt to overthrow Putin. It's like regime change. Why would they spend? Suddenly, they're trying to defend democracy in in the Ukraine, basically creating a situation where they forced Putin's hand. And you can see, many people talking about this, and this is coming. So again, this is Burma. The Western governments have been unable, for some reason, to understand Burma. Very reluctant to get involved. We have hundreds of thousands of refugees, ongoing war. Right now, in 2022, there's war going on there. They're bombing. There's conflict in Chin State. The Kachin War started in 2011. The Arakan state has been under conflict for years. The Karen state, they're bombing, even recently using aircraft. So we are seeing nothing change. The Western is just ignoring it for some geopolitical reason, and I assume that it's the fact that it's too difficult for them to handle this. But this really highlights the fact that the people in Southeast Asia need to realize that geopolitics plays a part in this. There is nothing about democracy and freedom and justice making these decisions.
Yes, well, I totally agree with you. So if Aung San Suu Kyi, suddenly released from prison, what's the impact will have in current, conflict?
Well, Aung San Suu Kyi being released from prison, I mean, it's unlikely that's going to happen. But that would be another mistake. I mean, we've already tried that already, and the fact that the policies appear to be revolving around putting one person in charge of a military dictatorship, and then it's basically a facade of democracy. So nothing would happen. I think she's, as a political savior, that myth is completely dead now. It's dead in the water. She's in prison. Any semblance of democracy or freedom coming out of her is going to die in prison, and is not going to be released. And we just have to look at the great myth that they threw upon us, because the Constitution was always a military drafted Constitution, which, in very simplistic terms, it enshrined the Burmese military to have control over the entire government. So even if we had an elected representative such as Aung San Suu Kyi, the military was always going to be in charge, because how they structured the Constitution. And, the key ministries were all in complete charge of the military. And the great con job that they pulled on us was that the Constitution, you could change the Constitution, but you needed 75% of the MPs. However, the Constitution said that 25% of the MPs were reserved for the military. So basically, it's a joke. It's a joke of a Constitution. It enshrined the power in the military mafia. And this is a military mafia with ethnocentric leadership they're Burmese. They view themselves as dominant. They're ignoring the ethnic people. And actually, the ethnic people make up more than the so-called 20-30% that they claim. The ethnic people are probably majority population of the countries of that country of Burma. So that's this is and not only in population we have a majority, at least 60%, but probably maybe 70 or more. But they also dominate the landmass, which is probably around 60 to 80% of the landmass as well. Remember, Shan State alone is almost 1/4 of the entire country.
Yeah, that's true. I watched one of the interview, Aung San Suu Kyi interview. She did mention that, ethnic, population are much more higher than, Burmese, population. Yeah, that's why I know that. Yeah. And so, okay, Scott. Well, what do you think of the Arakan Army? The organization which are seeking for self-determination. The organization which are fighting against with the Burmese military region. What do you think of the Arakan Army?
Yeah, well, the Arakan Army is actually, you guys are remarkable. My hats off to them. I salute the Arakan Army, and all across the country of Burma and in the expatriate community, everybody knows the Arakan Army, and the ethnic people that I know look back. Pretty much everybody is saying, "Wow, you guys have done something tremendous in that you've managed to unite the state of Arakan." And you're united, you're fighting back, and you've basically pushed the Burmese back and held your ground, and I really attribute that to your leadership. So I do like to say a special hello to General Tomrat Nyai and Doctor. You guys have done a great job. I salute the men and women. Look at the women that are joining the Arakan Army. You have people from across the region in Southeast Asia volunteering to fight for their country, for a historical kingdom. And it's a very remarkable thing. You should be proud of it. You guys are heroes. Not only, you're heroes for democracy, because the Arakan Army has managed to, establish its own jurisdictional. You're putting your own civil society into the country. So hats off. I salute you guys again.
That's really good to hear from you. Okay, so do you want to give any encouragement message to other indigenous people from Myanmar and revolutionary all the revolutionary leaders from Myanmar?
Yeah, well, I think given the historic struggle, we need to. We see one of the greatest faults is divide and rule by the Burmese military. The Burmese military operates by divide and rule, and the only reason they're in power today is because of, basically, I would say, their military, the artillery, and their air force. The great hope is now that the PDF, the People's Defense Forces, which are ethnic Burmese, this has changed. The situation has changed, and they are cooperating together. So everybody in Burma, and I'm talking about the ethnic people, whether you're Arakan, Chin, Kachin, Mon, the Shan, the Kokan, the Wa, the Karens, the Karenis. I hope I didn't leave anybody out there, but all the ethnic groups, which make up the majority of the population, you need to just do whatever you can to unite. And of course, we now see the Burmese people themselves coming together. They're actually helping each other in Karen State and other areas across the region. And that is a great sign that the people are standing up united. So we have to put away these old differences. The military regime needs to go, and so the ethnic people and the Burmese people can unite, and it is happening. Look at now in Chin State, the Chins are fighting, and this was a relatively new phenomenon, but they know that when you get pushed to the wall, you're forced into this situation. The Western government response has been terrible. Don't rely on their promises. We need to hold the Western policies to account. And stay strong. And, I think this is general advice that everybody sort of knows, but just, do it. If you can do one little thing in your life, try and breach and keep that unity with the ethnic people and now the PDF, and then you'll get your freedom.
I hope for they could hear, what you say. So, okay, last question. Okay, do you have a plan one day? Are you gonna come to visit Arakan State one day?
It would be great to visit Arakan State. I would love to see the catch up with the AA guys again. Look, we don't forget you. In fact, I'm just going to show you my shirt here. It's can you read that?
Look at that. Oh, what's that? The way of Rakita. Oh, Where did you get that T-shirt? I don't even have that one.
Well, I got that from the Arakan Army General Tormatnyai, and the doctor gave this to me. But the point is that the way of Rekita is it's your history, it's your policy. To see what happened with a group of students in 2009, Tun, when the
2009, 2009. Yeah,
so you guys are heroes.
Was established, yeah.
Yeah, so this is you guys are remarkable heroes, I think, for the movement, not only for Burma but for people around the world, to see that a group of students got together in 2009, and within a few years, you became one of the leading forces for democracy and freedom in that country. You're one of the game changers. I believe they say 80% of Arakan stay. Now, we're talking about inside what was formerly Burma, but I mean, this is the history of the Arakan people. 80% of your country is under your control, your administration. And this is happening in greater numbers across the country. But so I salute, again, salute Arakan people. Just keep fighting.
Keep fighting.
Strong. Never surrender.
I really appreciate for your messages. I believe all the Arakanese people from Rakhine State they could hear your voice. Yeah, thank you so much for the interviews. Thank you so much.
My blessings to the people Thalizoba, to the people of Arakan. It's one of the ancient kingdoms. The original people of Burma. It's the long tradition. You must keep that tradition, and make sure that the Western governments and the rest of the world know that you are the rightful owners of that land.
That's true. That's totally true. Keep the traditional alive. That's very important. Thanks, Scott. Yeah. See you next time. Yeah. Thanks for today. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.